In this video we'll talk about some features in XBasic that make working with JSON data easier. So you can see here that we have in script in the code editor here the string that has some JSON data in it, and it's hard to tell by just looking at this whether this is valid JSON or not. So you'll see here that in the script I'm going to call the JSON validate function, and I'm going to pass this JSON in, and then I'm going to report back the result of the JSON validate. So if I go ahead here and run this now, you can see that the result is empty, which means that there were no errors. There are no errors in this JSON. This JSON is valid. So now I'm going to go here and make this JSON invalid by removing, say, a comma over there. And now I'll go ahead now and run the validator, and you can see now that it tells me that there's an error, that there must be a comma after an object member. But while the validator has told me that there's an error, it's still pretty hard to find out where exactly the error is. So the next thing that you can do now is, when you're creating long strings in the code editor in Alpha, you use this syntax over here, angle bracket, %, and then just some text that is used in the beginning of the placeholder and then also at the end. So everything between these two symbols, angle bracket, %, and then the closing percent, is the long string. But there are special types of delimiters. So if I go here and change this from text to JSON over there, and then make the same corresponding change over here to JSON, now you can see that the little symbol over here indicates that there's an error. So it'll tell me where the error is. If I just go there now, you'll see that it tells me exactly where the error is, and I can see now that there's this little squiggly red line telling me where the source of the error, and I can see clearly over there that there's a missing comma. So now I can go there, and now when I move off the line, the squiggly yellow red line goes away to indicate that the error has gone away. And now, of course, when I validate, it validates correctly. So the other utility feature, the utility function that is useful for people working with JSON, is the JSON reformat function. So let's just comment out that line, so we don't need to show the validation result right now. And now let's go to this JSON and unformat it. So I'm going to select all the JSON from the top all the way to the beginning, and then on the keyboard I'm going to press Ctrl+0, which basically takes everything and left aligns it. So if I were to run the JSON validator right now, it would still return true, that there's no errors in this JSON. However, the JSON itself is really hard to read because it's not formatted. So now let's go here and we'll call the JSON reformat function, and we'll also now show the result over here. So we're going to basically format the input JSON and then create a new variable called JSON2 and then show the result. So when I run this now, there's the validation and there's the formatted JSON over there. So two new functions over here that you can use in your XBasic code: JSON validate and then also JSON reformat, both of which are very useful for XBasic developers working with JSON data. Thanks very much for watching.